Hello chess friends and welcome to Jozarov's chess channel and welcome to our London system series. So in this series we're following this very nice opening from White's perspective, and today we're continuing with the London system against the Dutch defense. In my previous video we have also analyzed the London versus the Dutch, but with a different sideline. In the previous video we have covered the line with bishop to e7. Today we're covering the line with the potential bishop to d6 idea of blacks. This is a more aggressive approach of blacks with this continuation, but I think with the move bishop to d6, black does you really one favor, one positional favor for you, and I think this bishop on d6 idea is not such a powerful idea. A better approach is, I think, even this previous line with the move bishop to e7. This bishop to d6 is exactly what we're searching for. We want to get rid of our dark square bishops. I'll explain, of course, what's all about in the continuation of the video, and as I always like to say when we analyze some openings and also some sidelines of openings, please watch this series from the beginning, so from the introduction video, part 1, part 2, part 3 and so on, in order to get a better understanding of this particular video. So d4 is now our main setup. As I said, f5, knight to f3, knight to f6 and bishop to f4. This was now the London system versus the Dutch defense, and now black builds this fortress on light squares. We'll also analyze a potential g6, which is more this Leningrad setup of the Dutch defense. Now with the move e6, black is showing us already that he's trying to build this d5 c6 fortress, try to keep the position compact in the center, and we'll try the knight on e4 outpost. So here e3, that was also my recommendation in my previous videos. D5 c4, very important move to recognize. Nice not to play the move c3, because c3 is too passive, because white has to break really this pawn chain that black has built here. We have to really crack the position, and now you can face many times the potential c6 move, and we play now the normal knight on c3. So this knight to c3, you see, is on a natural square. The knight on f3 is also on a very active square. The bishop has a good activity. We'll bring also this other bishop into the game with bishop to d3. So I really like this London system setup against this type of preparations by black, because I don't think we have lost any activity here in the continuation of the game. We have still opportunities, although black has so far a compact position. So bishop to d6, that's the line that we're analyzing today. So what to do here? Here with the move bishop to d6, if you take, for instance, the bishop immediately, okay, it's a good move. The queen can of course take, but there is also one basic rule in chess: we should never invite our opponent's pieces into the game. I think this move bishop to d6 is simply inviting the queen on a more active square, and now the queen could come maybe on an active square on b4. So even if we manage to maybe kick away the queen, and then I think black would proceed with something like queen to e7, then knight to d7, and we'll try to break the position with a potential e5 move. So that's why we shouldn't invite the queen, and most of us are probably bothered because the black threatens here after potential bishop to f4 to double our pawn structure here on the f files. But that's exactly what we want to gain here, because first of all, when we always watch these static positions like this, I hope you realize that many of these pawns are simply on light squares, and I've mentioned that many times in my videos, in my opening preparation videos, but also in this London system series videos, that this bishop on f4, okay, it has a good activity, and also the dark square bishop of blacks has a good activity. But if we trade off these dark square bishops, then black is continuing the game with a bad bishop. You see, this bishop is blocked out by many of these pawns, and black in many occasions will face this bad bishop position. You see now in a couple of examples how bad this bishop on c8 can get. So black has many times the troubles how to activate it here. My recommendation is simply to proceed with the move bishop to d3. You're castling. If your opponent castles, then again we should delay the situation with the move queen to c2. The idea behind this move is to get finally a rook connection, and also now maybe to threaten the move c5, maybe also b5, b4, b5, and similar ideas. We want to have the queen on a natural square, and now black has to do something. And in my opinion, this idea to play the move bishop to f4 is not such a bad idea for you, because now you can see after bishop to f4 we can take e takes f4, and still we have a grip on dark squares. We have the d4 f4, and now the e5 square is really unprotected because black has played this. Well, I'm not saying it's a bad opening, but it's really a bad setup. I would like to say it like this, because first of all, when we have played f5 and d5, you don't have any more pawns. You cannot play the move f6, or you cannot play the move d6 in order to kick away a potential outpost. So here, in one particular game, black tried here d takes c4. It was a game played by Bernd Kohlweyer against Nicolas Giffard. Here, after bishop to c4, knight to d5. What black is trying to do here is, of course, attack our weak f4 pawn. Now g3. Although you're weakening further the pawn structure on light squares, there are now some targets of blacks. But as I said, the bishop is so blocked out that it's not so easy for this bishop to come here on h3. Black will need many tempos in order to make something to happen here. After potential b5, here Bernd Kohlweyer simply takes. Risky choice, as I said, giving up the light square bishop with this light square problems, but our main target, as I always like to say in the London system, is simply our knight to an e5 outpost. I hope you realized after potential trades of bishops with this move bishop from d6 and bishop takes f4, black has basically given up the only good minor piece on the board, and black is lacking now of defenders of dark squares. There are many now targets for us here in the center. So the weak e5 square, there is also a weak c5 square, there is also a weak d6 square. These are the clear targets for us to occupy these squares with our knights. And then if, for instance, this knight jumps somewhere, maybe here on e4, then we can simply take it out and cement our knight on e5, and we're continuing the game maybe with an outposted knight, and black is continuing the game with a bad bishop, so our knight would be much more powerful than this bishop on c8. So e takes d5, we see castling, bishop to d7, we have rook to e1, bishop to e8, and now a4. This is the main goal, to break the position, break again the pawn chain, here b4, and we have now knight to a2 by Bernd Kohlweyer, and now queen to d6. Knight to c1, you see again we are searching for outposts on these two squares. So here knight to a6, we have knight to b3, bishop to h5, and now finally knight to an e5. So again, knight to c5 is also a possibility. Now our main goal and our main idea is simply to trade off more pieces, to even simplify the position to the stage that we can really trade off the queens off the board, we can trade off the rooks off the board. Just what we want to do is simply to continue the endgame with the bishop, with the knight against this bishop on h5, because the knight is so well placed here on e5 that it cannot be kicked away by any minor piece. Even if this knight somehow attacks this knight, still then this other weak square on the board would be unprotected. It's of course the weak c5 square. So rook to c8, we say rook to c1, we're simply preventing this backward pawn to move, because that's the main target, that's the main weakness now also in black's position. So there are now weak squares, but also weak pawns in black's position. So in rook to f6, we have queen to d3, knight to b8, and now knight on c5. You see how these two knights are holding the position. Black is so blocked out, black is really paralyzed here, although this bishop has finally activated itself, but it doesn't have any support. It's aiming into nothing, although as I said in the beginning of the video, we can face some light square problems, but without support this is a bad game here for black. So h6, we have queen to d2, a5, knight to b3, here rook to c5. Here after bishop to e8, we have grab the pawn, rook takes a5. I'm not going to show you the whole game, it's not the point. It's very important to realize this potential outposts, this potential weak squares in the position, the weak pawns, really this positional trades of pieces. Again, you see this bishop has some troubles in the game, and white won the game very effectively here. So let's see now another example. Again, we have the similar setup, bishop to d3, castling, queen to c2, bishop takes f4, e takes f4, queen to d6, g3. Again, we're protecting everything. Still we can play the knight on e5 outpost. But I hope you realize in this particular line we didn't again take the bishop on d6 after bishop takes f4, e takes f4, queen to d6, g3. At least black has lost another tempo with our move, bishop take d6. As I said in the beginning, we have invited our opponent's queen into the game, so now black is playing the game with the loss of tempo. So here b6, what black is trying to do with the b6 move is to keep the position a little bit more flexible, that black could also try the move c5, also creating a pawn breakthrough. But as I said, when we try to play too much with the pawns, then also black could face some troubles. Then this bishop could be really activated. If, for instance, we push too many pawns on dark squares, then the bishop on c4 could be also very dangerous against the king on g8. So there are many positional sidelines. Of course, we cannot explain this London system. What happens? What if happens? If our opponent plays like this, if our opponent plays like this, so what should I do then? Our main strategy always in these types of setups, as I said, is positional trades of pieces, knight outposts, attacking weaknesses, attacking weak squares, attacking weak pawns, even if our opponent plays some other sidelines. Castling, knight to a6, the idea is clear, knight to b4, so that's why a3, knight to c7, and now rook to c1. Really, again, natural moves in chess. We have bishop to b7, and now very nice move here by white. The game was, I'm sorry I didn't tell you who is playing. It was Gupta Abhiet against Zainab Mamedjarova. Here c5, played by white. Very nice pawn sacrifice. After d takes c5, we have queen to c5, but now knight to a4. Again, we can play on weak squares. Again, the weak square is c5. Again, the weak square is e5. Again, the weak pawn is c6 with a different move order. But now, after knight to d4, black has really troubles to defend this, because black cannot compete here with the rook on c8. The knight has cut off here the connection between also the pawn on c6. Here black tried knight to b5. We have bishop to b5. Very important move to realize. That's what I meant about this positional trades of pieces. Whenever we have the opportunity to give up our light square bishop for the knight after the trades of dark square bishop, we should do that, because now you see again so many clear targets in the position. You see the weak c5 square again. Again, the bishop is blocked out by its own pawn. We have created a very nice and firm, compact blockade position with the knight. And basically, this game can be, of course, played also in different sidelines. But I hope you realize that white has this decisive advantage here. White has the advantage of space. White has very nice activity in the game. Bishop to c8 again. Black has the troubles how to activate the slide square bishop, and now knight to b5, queen to b6, knight to d4 again, and now we can play rook to d1. We have h6, and now h4, rook to e8, and now again we could try something like knight to f3, and down, then maybe even knight to e5, rook to b8, b4. Very nice move. After a takes b4, a takes b4, you cannot take, you get the fork on c6. So you see how these knights are very dangerous here. Bishop to b7, knight takes b7, queen to b7, and now b5. Here I want to stop. Again, this game will also be in the description below. That's not the point that we analyze now the whole game. Hope you realize now we have created a pass pawn, which is a main strategical advantage now in the end game. We can really try to hang on to this pawn. We have a nice activity with our rooks. This knight on e4 outpost again can be kicked away with the potential f3. We have a good activity, and white won the game very easily. So let's see now another example. Again, the same setup. Queen to c2, knight to e4 here was played. Here black tried to delay the situation, this tension between the bishops a little bit further. We have castling again, bishop to f4, e takes f4, and now knight to d7, rook to c1, h6, and now b4. Again, we are trying this minority attack on the queen side with potential even c5 moves. Then we could have really more and more compact position on the queen side, and also we could block further the position and really cement the position on dark squares. Still, I hope you realize, again, I'm pointing out, this bishop is so blocked out by its own pawns that it's really a bad bishop. So a6, we have c5, we have really blocked out now the position, g5, and now knight to e2, here queen to f6, and now rook to e1, queen to g7, and now again knight to e5. Here it was a gameplay by Rasmus Sven against Tobias Jugelt. Knight to e5. What black probably thought that black can grab a pawn after knight to f4. We have knight takes e5, d takes e5, and now bishop to d7. Queen to e5 is again not possible. You get the fork on g6. So again, bishop to e7. Now f3. We have queen to e5, and now white decides to take the knight. But now we have f takes e6 with the attack on the bishop. Bishop takes e4. We have queen to d4, queen to f2, and now after trades of pieces, again, I hope you realize here is our position. Again, black has the bad bishop on d7. Again, it's blocked out by its own pawns. We have still a very powerful knight. Again, we could search for very nice dark squares on the board. This knight will always find a way into the game. So in this game also white won the game very, very easily. So as I said, positional trades of pieces. When we trade off the dark square bishops, in many times, in many occasions, you can give up your light square bishop for the knight, because in this blocked and static positions, the knights will always find a way into the game. You see how many problems black can face with his setup in this Stonewall Dutch, and you can punish him very, very easily, very, very positionally. And I think this is our approach, how to play against this bishop to d6 idea. So okay, I hope that you realize these ideas, and I hope that you enjoy this video. At the end of the video, we'll have again a chess puzzle for you to solve at home. It was a gameplay by David Bronstein. It will be also in the description below. It's again a nice tactic from the London system. And if you want to watch more of this very nice opening, check out my whole series of London system played as white. Here's the link. And if you have troubles to play as black, check out my Nimzo Indian and my hyper accelerated Dragon Sicilian defense series, in which I show you nice and effective ways how to play against d4 and e4. And if you like this content, you can also subscribe to my channel. See you soon with some more videos, and chess is the best, of course.